And in that very moment, you should be able to hear me. Hello, everyone, and hello, everybody. Welcome to our Trans Day of Disability stream. I hope everyone is doing fine. I hope everyone is doing okay. Welcome to this, really special stream in my opinion. But yeah, that's nice that you can hear me. Awesome. I'm actually going to switch to our guests, and we have a lot of them. And actually, I'm just gonna be playing today, and the moderator will be CRYENGINE. Hey, CRYENGINE.
Hello, everybody. How's it going? I'm happy to be your host today for this very special occasion. As every year, we are doing something special for Trans Day of Visibility, which is, as every year, 31st of March. And I think this time we have a real treat for everyone. We have two very special guests in the house. We have Bárbara Framil and Brittany Williams, who are writers on Hunt Showdown. And they are our narrative designers who design, for example, the character stories for Hunt Showdown characters. And today, they will be able to answer your questions about how to actually incorporate a diverse strategy of inclusive gender representation in your game. Bárbara, you want to start with your introduction?
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I am Bárbara. I'm from Brazil. My pronouns are she, her, or they, them. And I had the pleasure of designing a few of the stories of our hunters along our wonderful narrative team.
Excellent. Thank you so very much. And Bree, you want to follow up on that?
Yes, hello, everyone. My name is Bree. I am also a narrative designer here at Crytek. My pronouns are she, her, or they, them, and I identify as non-binary. And I've also had the pleasure of writing some interesting characters for Hunt, as well as some other stories as well. Nice to meet everyone.
Perfect. Awesome. We are so happy to have you here today. And to add to the full introduction, many people who actually follow CRYENGINE and know me already, they know, hey, I'm Gabriel. I'm the senior manager for CRYENGINE ecosystems and communication, doing all things community, marketing, and support on the engine together with my great team. My pronouns are he, him, and let me throw the ball back to you, Oma, so you can do the introductions because we have a lot of new people here today.
So the interesting thing about this, because this is like the first time I'm actually, introducing myself with my pronouns, and this is a new experience for me. And this is kind of the reason why I'm here, because I want to learn. I want to learn from the experience that the team has made. And that's why, my first time introducing myself. I'm Roman. I'm the technical evangelist, and my pronouns are he, him. Yeah, I have to translate it 2 times in German, in English, and then back in German to check if that's correct.
All good. It's all good. There's a first for everyone. Thank you for doing that. Then I would say what we want to do today is, so Bree and Oma are going to play Hunt Showdown and going to play 2 of the characters that actually have a diverse gender identity in Hunt Showdown. And the 2 of them will be playing, and Bárbara and I will probably start talking a little over the gameplay, talking about the characters that the both of them have been working on. And chat, if you have any questions about that, feel free to ask, and I'll try to rephrase your questions and ping them to Bree and Bárbara specifically. Cool. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah,
let's do it.
There's a lot of love in the chat. I like that.
Let's hunt, exactly.
Let's hunt. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So we are seeing 2 characters on screen already. Bárbara, do you want to talk about these 2 characters that we're seeing here?
Of course, I can start talking about the Viper, and maybe Bree could share a little bit more about Sophia. The Viper is our character, our special character from the Serpent Moon event. They were evolving hunters, so they actually have 4 different skins in total. And I had the pleasure of writing for them. So, of course, along the entire narrative team, but they were officially, openly the first non-binary character we had on Hunt, and we had a lot of fun writing for them. They are an assassin that comes to the Bayou by invite of Mr. Sherry, and they have throughout the Serpent Moon event a lot of cool stuff happened to them. So I don't want to get into many details, but they had one hell of a ride that eventually that you can see through the different skins and the evolution of the story. And Brie, maybe you want to introduce Sophia?
Yeah, of course. So I cannot take credit for Sophia. Sophia has been written by the wonderful Umut, who is a fellow narrative designer on our team.
Umut.
Yes. You might have heard him during the Serpent Moon doing narration, but enough about him.
It's never enough about Umut, but okay, go ahead.
So Sophia is actually a pretty interesting case because I don't think we've explicitly talked about her gender and how she identifies, but when Umut was coming up with the story and character details for her, he found that while kind of discovering her as a person, as I guess we kind of do in our profession, when we were talking about it, he said that she is not someone who doesn't care about gender. It is not her priority. She does not feel the need to be within the trappings of it. And it isn't something that is the forefront or important to her. So through that conversation, we kind of figured out that Sophia is someone who is agender, but she still is fine with she, her pronouns. And honestly, as long as it makes Lulu happy, then she's happy. So it all works out.
Yeah, there was already a question. Oh my God, Sophia confirmed gender diverse. How does she identify? Well, we answered that. And is Lulu gender diverse as well? That's a question from It's D&B.
I would solidly put Lulu into the ally category as opposed to someone who is gender diverse.
Awesome. And we all need allies. That is very important. And I heard Sophia likes to make Lulu happen. Do you want to? She wants to make Lulu happy. Sorry, still stumbling over my language sometimes because German, English, etc. So Sophia wants to make Lulu happy. Can you actually explore that a little? Why is that so? For somebody who might not know these characters.
I don't know how. I don't have a fancy way to say it. They're just totally in love with each other, and that's it. Lulu wants to make Sophia happy and vice versa until they just do things that make each other happy, even if it's murder.
That's fine.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't expect a love story in Hunt Showdown, to be fair. So this is awesome because these hunters, they are actually people, right? They are, of course, avatars in what is some kind of a power fantasy, but there's also a lot of drama involved in the setting. So yeah, thanks for tackling that so well. Do you maybe have any tips on how to write characters for a specific setting, especially a horror setting like Hunt Showdown?
You mean how we integrate a different, for example, love story in the middle of horror or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. And in general, maybe the basic approach, because many people who use CRYENGINE are game developers themselves. Many of them are also indie developers. They might just be looking up at us for an example. And I personally think it can be hard, right? I mean, horror is all about emotions, but I think in Hunt Showdown, the characters don't really have a voice, right? But still you integrate their personality in their design and you work with how they stand to each other. So how do you approach that?
Do you want me to start, Brie?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. I think there's a lot to unpack. There's like the part of writing horror. There's the part of like writing multiplayer games, and like there are a lot of like difficult parts of Hunt. I think focusing on horror. Bree is the horror specialist here, so she can complement. But for me, like you said, horror is about emotions, and I have a lot of fun writing for horror, thinking, because I think it can be very the kind of like thematic writing. So you focus on one emotion, one fear, one taboo, something like that, and you can create a lot of fantasy around that. And it's all about raw emotions, so it's something quite interesting to write. And I think in a video game that a lot of the time you don't have the space for words, you have the space for feelings, right? Because the story is being told through the player. Like the only person living that story is the player at that moment, and any other player is going to be living something different. So I think horror aligns pretty well with that kind of storytelling, because everything is about like making this environment, this world, tell a story and make the player feel those kind of things. I don't know if it explains, but I think it's an introduction into horror in video games.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Just a short question, because Bree, you're not in the match with me.
No, I'm getting reconnect issues.
Oh. No.
Oh no.
Yeah, we'll just wait a little bit. Maybe you will be able to reconnect.
We already started with the drama here. I can see that very well.
Yeah, part of the drama is this frustration, the build-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were talking about, I was talking about, for example, power fantasies. So would you say that Hunt Showdown is still a power fantasy?
I think it's a different kind of fantasy here. Because I suppose it depends a lot on how you see a power fantasy, because a lot of games are supposed to make you feel strong from the start. And like, for example, if you're playing the Spider-Man game, like it's kind of like it received a lot of complaints that it was a little bit too easy, that sort of thing. But it's pretty aligned with the feeling of being a superhero. Like of course you're going to be stronger than your general low-life grunts. But in a game like Hunt, I think the feeling that we want to achieve is quite the opposite of feeling powerless in this world that is like everything is set against you, everything is so fragile, everything is out to get you, and you could die so easily. So the power fantasy comes from like playing and dying and getting stronger, and through the journey you become stronger. But even then, like no matter how of a hardcore player you are, it's still going to have that one match that you just get surprised and you suddenly lose everything. So I think we want to have this feeling of high stakes and being really engaged in the moment, because the slightest mistake could bring your downfall,
I think that's really interesting, because I completely feel that whenever... Oh, sorry, yeah?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I have something to say, but go first.
I completely feel that, that vulnerability whenever I start a match. But as soon as I progress and as soon as I actually do really good in a match, then I kind of feel this badass emotion, like, okay, I'm effing badass right now because I did so well and I did it really, really well. And this is where it kind of over a match, it builds up this power fantasy. But this power fantasy is not coming because the game made it easy for you, because you have your own skills that you improved or you did something well. And this is really interesting for me to see. I think this is also one of the addiction points of Hunt, right? That's one of the points that always brings you back into Hunt, because it doesn't matter how many times you kind of die in a match, because it will happen. It's unavoidable. It's like Thanos. But then there is this one match where you nail everything, and then you fell in love with this game. Yeah. And this is also part for like the narrative design team create this actual amazing characters and stories behind them, where it plays a huge role who you play as, in my opinion.
So I wanted to quickly butt in and say something about that as well, which struck my fancy. Let's put it that way. I think what we all described here was, or is, very relatable for a lot of people who are marginalized, and also transgender people or people who are on the diverse gender spectrum. Because it is. We are fighting a lot in our lives, and we lose a lot, but we win a lot as well. And this high stakes feeling, I actually feel that in life. So I couldn't be more happy about having actually gender diverse characters in this game. It just relates and fits so well into the whole context.
Yeah, I think also like thinking what Roma was saying about how the characters we create can, I mean, not always, but can influence how you play the game. This is something that we take we put a lot of thought into thinking, like, what does this character bring to the gameplay? So we usually talk a lot about, exactly, like, a character like the Viper has a different reason to be in the Bayou than Sophia or Lulu. And I do think that their identity plays a part in that. Like, when we were creating the Viper, a lot of the story was about finding your identity. And this character who see themselves as a tool for murder because they are not happy with who they are. And that's why they became an assassin, and they are like killing for pay. They're not killing for their own desire. And that was something that with each new skin, we wanted to bring it closer, that they were finding themselves, they were becoming more comfortable in their own skin. And I hope that maybe to change a little bit how players would play the Viper version 1, from the final Viper. But yeah.
I think the version the version you have on screen, Roma, that is, which stage is that?
This is Bree's character, and this is the first stage, right, Bree?
It's the second.
Yes, the
second.
It's the rise. The second.
Yeah.
I guess, could you maybe, Bárbara, explain some of the mentality behind what you were thinking when you were writing the concepts for the second stage?
Of course. With this character, it was the first and so far the only hunter with this evolution. So we really wanted to create a visual storytelling for it. Like, we wanted each new skin to tell a little bit of the story, not only through text, but through the visuals, through the animations, everything that we had to make each skin special. So there was a lot of back and forth on like what this story could be. And I think a lot of times creating a character is kind of like a puzzle, because you already have the setting there and you're trying to find the right pieces, and not all pieces will fit. And we just felt that it was fitting so well to have a character with an arc about identity and not feeling comfortable in their skin. And it became like pretty clear early on that the Viper would be trans. And we decided, eventually it became even more clear that they were agender. And so the thought behind each new evolution was that the character was becoming more comfortable with their appearance, with their expression of gender expression, their identity. And so the first skins, the clothing, the accessories, they are very practical. They're about being useful. You know, like every single thing in their clothes could be about protection or killing. And with the second skin, for example, when Brie did the gesture there, you could see the little bracelets and everything that the Viper has. Because with each new skin, they are wearing more accessories. They're just frivolous, you know, things that just look pretty, that just look nice, that maybe reflect something of their personality. So the second one, they are still looking very simple. They have the hood on and some details. But on the next skins, they start to paint their nails. They have more and more jewelry and all of that.
I would also like to apologize in advance for any words that come out of my mouth. I'm so sorry.
I mean, it wouldn't be a horror game without a few jump scares.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's actually
we have
pretty
enemies.
amazing.
We have enemies.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yep. So good. That's the beauty of Fun Showdown, I would say. We've all been there, honestly, and the spider gets me every time.
It's scares so much.
It's so well done. It just doesn't get better. Nice. Well done there. Cool.
I did nothing. Thank you for carrying Roma.
They're there. Be careful.
Bárbara,
looking up.
one question.
Nice.
Are there pictures of the Viper's stages online somewhere for people who have not seen it?
Yeah. We have the official pictures. We have a wallpaper with all of them. I could find out where it is.
Yeah. That would be awesome. So I could share it in chat.
Yeah.
So people could see.
Of course. Just give me 1 second. We have it on the official Discord channel. Somewhere.
Let me take this brief moment where we can watch amazing gameplay and ask the chat if they have any more questions.
There was an interesting question from Beady Boy.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. Let me see. Let me find it. I know I saw it. There. How do you balance the need for gameplay mechanics with the desire to create a compelling backstory and personality for each character?
They're coming in.
Shit. That is a great question. So I think the first step, especially if you're working on a bigger team, is that it's all about collaboration. Okay. That's cool.
It's hard mode. It's definitely hard mode.
It is an interview in hardcore mode. Yep.
Oh, okay. So now that I'm dead, I think the biggest thing is that because we work on such a big team and we have different disciplines, that we have the good graces of that we know that certain gameplay elements are coming up and we know our world very well. We know that we're late 1800s in Louisiana, so we have a lot to work from and a lot to kind of balance. So it's kind of getting that marriage of, okay, we know that the good folks over at Game Design are cooking up something really cool, like a new trait or a new mechanic or a new character, and we kind of work around that. Like they give us the clay and then we kind of do the molding, and then we kind of go back and forth and have discussions and collaboration where we're able to kind of come to a happy marriage of those mechanics together. But I would say the biggest thing is collaboration and a lot of research. I think that I would say like 45 to 60% of our job is research and then it's writing. So collaboration and research are your two big things.
I had technical issues. I'm so sorry. I'm sure Free's answer was amazing. I'm so sad I missed it.
But you're back. That's good. Awesome. It was an amazing answer. Perfect.
She'll tell me later.
Yeah.
Yes. That's another question. The question is a follow-up to Bree's answer. It is, so Bree, you mentioned the 1800s. Are there any particular challenges you faced when designing characters for a game set in the late 1800s?
I mean, I think that's also part of the magic of it. Coming in, I didn't know a lot about this era, which I think is the late Victorian era. And in doing research, and especially about kind of the aspects of the Wild West, they kind of just did whatever they wanted, frankly. One of the cool things, especially when it comes to gender identity, is that while we do frame things in a modern lens when we're looking at it historically, a lot of cases and news reports showed that like there were a lot of people who were born as men or women who decided that they were going to dress and present themselves as the quote unquote opposite gender, but that's what they were comfortable with, and that's how they were able to thrive. And in settings like, I guess, what would be hunt in Louisiana or even in the Wild West, a lot of these people were able to be, I guess, quote unquote different, or at least I would say, comfortable within themselves. So having all of that information and knowing all of that, we're able to kind of say, okay, this isn't as wild as we think it is. And so all we have to make sure is that we're framing the words right and making sure that we know our facts and we get them straight.
Fantastic. And I think you did that very well. Representation of gender diverse characters is sometimes difficult in historical settings because we know, history is written by the winners or the majority of people. So, but there are a lot of great sources actually if you go look for it. And as we can see, you have done that very, very well. So thank you for that. This is amazing. Hey, Bárbara, you're back, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Perfect. Sorry, I hear little clicking noises, and then I hear breathing noises. I'm like, oh no, are they gone again? Are they still with me? Okay.
Oh no.
By the way, this should
I put
be
the
a
link.
thing.
Yeah, it should be a thing. Like beeping noises, and that's like beep beep. I posted a link to the 4K Serpent Moon event wallpaper in chat. So enjoy, and that has all 4 stages of the Viper. This is so cool.
By the way,
please continue. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that this skin not only has the Viper, but also the Lara, which is the snake.
What's the how did that naming convention come to be?
The Lara, why we decided the Lara?
Yeah.
So the Viper is Persian, and we were looking for a Persian name, and our dear Umut suggested this name. That means, if I'm not mistaken, adorning the heart. Yes. So because the Lara is always the Viper's shoulders, right? And like her head is like near their heart. So we thought it was cute that the Lara is always adorning their heart.
So there's actually 2 characters in one.
Yeah, we have 4 skins, 2 characters, so 8 characters in total.
Oh wow!
Just kidding.
Yeah, but it looks like there's this relationship between the humanoid character and the snake. Did you think about that? So the snake isn't just an animal; is it like a spiritual thing or something that is interpreted?
Yeah, the Lara is quite important in the Viper story. So when we were the idea is that the Viper struggles a lot with a lot of things. The Viper is great at their job, they are great at being an assassin, but they suck at personal life.
Yeah, I can see that. How that goes well with each other. Yeah.
Real. Relatable.
The struggle. So this is something, of course, that they are addressing throughout the story. Like this is part of the arc. But we imagine that, especially as a child, the Viper had a lot of trouble with the world. We imagine that they are in the autistic spectrum. So some certain noises, some like overwhelming spaces with lots of people would make them not feel very comfortable, and the Viper's parents didn't know exactly how to help them, and eventually Delara kind of became emotional support animal, So Delara is very special. Yeah. So with the help of Delara, the Viper felt a little bit more connected to another being, and having Delara around their shoulders, every time with them, gives them this confidence to be more like social, to be more open. Not that they are very social and open, but a little bit more.
Comes with the package of being a hunter, I guess.
Yeah.
that there are limits to your social confidence, I would say. But hey, who wouldn't want an emotional support snake?
Right?
Yeah.
And at the start of the story, Delara is dying, and that's why the Viper accepts Mr. Sherry's proposal, because Mr. Sherry says that he can help extend Delara's life, and that's part of the Serpent Moon event. If you missed the event, do you know if we have the audios available somewhere, or if there are plans for that?
NDA.
So I do not know if the audios are available anywhere, but maybe some of the other players, have information for you. Who knows? But
I think there is probably, a sum up on YouTube of the events of the story. There must be.
Yeah, I imagine someone recorded something, or you can go into like a Twitch stream of someone playing in the past. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like now's the time to shout out Hazmat, who I'm sure a lot of people know in the hunt community. He has done excellent work when it comes to summarizing a lot of our stories. So get on to him and keep using your awesome voice.
Yes.
Nice. Awesome. We have another question. 2 questions, actually. Let's take the question from Smalls2233. When it comes to representation, do you feel pressured to make the representation good, or do you want to tell compelling stories?
So this is complicated because at the end of the day, when you look at the stories of Hunt at its core, it's a series of bad people doing bad and weird things in a weird place. So I'm personally of the mindset of, at the end of the day, the Viper, Sophia, Lulu, etc. are still just quote unquote people. And so they are allowed to be bad. Not everyone has to be this bastion of purity just because they are someone of a marginalized group. And I think instead of having to worry about making them good or pure, we do our best to make them interesting, and hopefully that comes across and people are hopefully at the end of the day saying, oh, this is a very cool character that I want to learn more about, as opposed to saying, this is a marginalized person who you've made bad and now they are going to ruin it for everyone.
Yeah, that's a very good response. And I think basically...
It's extremely good response, yeah.
Yeah, having good representation to me is not contradicting to having compelling storytelling, because I think that's what it is. We do research on topics that we probably didn't know about before, like the 1800s, or even if you, dear chat or dear viewer, if you are not of group, the best thing you can do is do your research and ask people who have that realm of experience to actually maybe help you with writing good and compelling characters. But I think that representation matters because it makes a setting more real. Yep.
And also for me personally,
Sorry. I saw you going for it.
okay. I'm so I'm scared right now. Okay, I'm not gonna say no. That was a warning shot, by the way. Don't say anything stupid.
A little goofy, a little gaffer, a little ha. It's fine.
I think, for me personally, as long as it's not their only trait, especially like their only character trait, to be transgender, to be agender, to be gender fluid, but there's a lot of personality behind it, that this person, this human being has a story, that makes it so much more interesting.
And that's the thing. I mean, we are not talking surrogate characters here. We're just talking people.
Yeah.
And writing believable people means that some of them might also be transgender or marginalized in another way. And also we have a lot of good cultural representation in Hand Showdown. It's like a very diverse cast.
Extreme. About the
as
diversity.
Diverse as our players, I would say, right?
Yeah,
because that's simply it. We want to appeal to people, and that's why we write people.
Whoa! Shots at us.
Yep.
I don't know where from. Oh, I see it. Dead. Headshot.
Oh, let's go.
I don't know where the other shot's coming from.
This is really a hard mode interview. I'm at the edge of my seat and I'm not even playing. It's like, oh God.
It's hard to pay attention when you're like so engrossed in the game.
Somebody in chat says you should probably take cover because you're too visible, but...
yeah, I agree, but I'm just
It's Trans Visibility Day.
Yeah, we have to be visible. This is what it feels to be out and visible as being transgender. It's like... You're under attack a lot of the time. Anyways, but another question. There was another question. So first a comment from Dino Ari. One day I'd love to see Delara get her own legendary. I want to be a big old snake and scare everyone in the Bayou.
That would be amazing. I would love that too.
Write that down. Write that down.
Write that down.
I wonder if... the lore of Hand Showdown is so rich, and there's so much that's literally creeping in the shadows. So I'm actually so excited for what's to come. Like, oh my God.
I would have a question.
Yeah.
It's about actually narrative design, because I personally see a lot of. I'm taking the bounty, by the way. I see a lot of comparisons for me personally between Hunt and actually Dark Souls, because there is a lot of lore behind Hunt Showdown, like crazy amount of lore, but you don't have to, follow the lore. You just can enjoy the game, just like by playing it. But if you want to, you can get so deep into the lore of Hunt, which makes it way more amazing than normally playing. And it's, for me, it's the same with Dark Souls. It's the same thing. You can go ahead and just kill everything and everyone, but if you get into the lore, it gets so much better. And I see a lot of comparisons with Hunt here. Do you feel the same? Do you see the same connections? Oh, Hunter in front of me.
Yeah, I can see the connection. Honestly, it's quite a compliment, I think. I love Dark Souls games.
Yeah. Same. I'm a huge fan of both.
I think I from my perspective, good world building, good lore is the one that it's ingrained in the space, in some that you don't need to know the words, you don't need to know the explanation behind everything, but as you play, everything makes sense, and the atmosphere, everything is cohesive, everything is like the gameplay, the audio, the art, everything is working towards the same feeling, the same mood. And that's something that I would say Hunt does quite marvelously, and I think the same with the Dark Souls. And then like the actual explanation, the stories, the everything that you can. Oh,
sorry.
So everything that you can go everything that's outside of the game is like the cherry on top. It's just really for you to, if you can't have enough, you need more. But as you play the game, I think you're also like immersed in the universe of Hunt, even without knowing the deep lore and having the full explanation in your head.
I think that already answered one of the questions that were coming in right now. The question from Enokus Spimon. You're all describing these deep, well-developed characters and lore, but the gameplay isn't exactly storytelling. So how do you integrate these characters and story development in a game that doesn't actively support it?
I mean, for me, I think that it's a hard balance because I know that a lot of people do enjoy the story, but I also know that a lot of people want to just have their own adventures. They want to be able to... Sorry, I'm getting excited. Hold on, I'm freaking out. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Sorry.
Yes.
He was about to avenge you, Brie.
Yes. But people want to be able to just like be the redneck, go to his little poultry farm and just stand their ground and have fun. So I personally think that we try and do a lot of this during our events, especially if you participated in the Moon events last year. We tried our best to kind of integrate people into the world more often. We're kind of doing that more recently. I'm sure that some people have seen the gator traps and gator footprints running around. And we're slowly kind of incorporating it more into the world itself rather than trying to impose it on the characters because you are amazing. You're amazing. Great work. So yeah, as opposed to the characters, we would much rather kind of do a lot more world and environmental building so that people still have that choice of, yes, I can do it with someone and be Sophia and Lulu, or I can just tell my own story.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, when you have a more player-centric storytelling approach, and you always think that the story is not the text itself. The story happens as the player plays. I think it gives a lot of a space for just having this sort of like improvisation role playing with your players. Because I think a lot of like giving this background is just to engage with the player's imagination. Mm-hmm. So like some people do not need or don't want that. They have a lot of stories to tell. They have the character that they want to create. And there's space for that in Hunt because you have the hunters that are not legendary that you can choose. Like you have the randomization, of course, but you choose that character and you can create their own legend in your head. But maybe this time you actually want to try something new, so you can like look at this beautiful cast of characters and like, oh yeah, I want to be the witch hunter. Let's look at the lore of the witch hunter, and you learn that the witch hunter has a certain personality and a certain goal. She's more like, correct me, Brie, because you're a specialist in the witch hunter, but she's more on the righteous side, right? She has like she sees herself as the good guy, right? The good person. So and then when you play somebody more like the turncoat is the opposite. He's supposed to be the one that is, like he has betrayed other people. So maybe that will help you think of how you want to play. And one example that I have is the Wolf family, right? So again, they were written by the amazing Umut. But these three characters, Luna Wolf, the Dread Wolf, and I forgot the other's name. Bree, do you remember?
Luna Wolf, Dire Wolf, and Lonely Howl.
Dire Wolf and Lonely Howl. Sorry so much. So the three characters, they are part of a family, right? You have like the parents and the son, and they have this story of the son leaving them behind, right? And and the parents are there to hunt the Lonely Howl. And we heard stories about players that would go into duels as Dire Wolf and Luna Wolf and be hunting down Lonely House. And that sort of gameplay like that is inspired by the story, but only happens if the players engage with it, if the players want to explore that in the world. That's the kind of way that I think the best way to merge gameplay and storytelling, like giving ideas to the players so they can go and tell their own stories.
Awesome. Yeah, and actually I think Hunt Showdown is a game where you are a hunter who is actually looking for clues and spotting for, the devil that is in the detail. So having environmental storytelling in a game like that, which has such a high risk environment, it's player versus player and versus environment. What's not to like about that? I actually wouldn't even agree that with the take that the game isn't supporting storytelling. It's more like the environmental storytelling that is also very big in FromSoft games. Is actually quite intricate here in everything. Like you said, like the little footprints on the floor, stuff that changes on the maps gradually when we're working towards new storylines and the new characters that are being released. So I love these things. I love spotting them. I love if they're not in my face. So yeah, I think it's a matter of taste probably.
Yeah, and I also think like every time, I think it's also always funny to say like, oh, this game doesn't have a story, doesn't have storytelling. Like every time you play a match and all the elements there, like all the drama that comes from player versus player and the opportunities you have, and at the end, you have a story. Like what you lived through was a story, and you can tell that to other people. And it wouldn't be the same story with a different environment, with a different mood, with a different period setting. All of that is only enhancing this unique story you live through.
Absolutely, and it makes the whole world so much more engaging and also threatening, in my opinion. So
yeah,
kudos to that. Yeah, good job to you and the team. There's another question from earlier that I thought was interesting from Beady Boy that also kind of fuels into what we were just talking about. It is, so since Hunt has a lot of unique characters already and more on the way always, how can you ensure that they all feel so unique and distinct from others in both appearance, identity, and personality?
I mean, I won't speak for Bárbara, but I feel like every time we end up having conversations about stories that we're developing for the Book of Weapons, etc., or just in any weird research that we do, there's always some new interesting something that pops up that where we're like, oh, well, that character might be neat. I mean, I think personally our recent 5th anniversary Twitch Drop the Kill Buyer was a conversation between a few of us on the team, not just narrative of just I just want a weird horse guy. I just want a silly little horseman, and so we're going to propose it. People liked it, and now we have our silly little guy who's just running around the bayou. There's just this wealth of weirdos that we haven't even touched the surface of. So hopefully there are plenty more hunters to come.
Oh yeah, well that character is haunting me in my nightmares. As an equestrian person, I'm just like, oh my god, this is the worst character ever.
Yes.
But it's great because it's so horrific, It's Okay, good job yet again. I'll never play that character. I hope I will never see it, but because I lost. The moment somebody comes at me with that character, I lost. Really, just giving me the chills. Let's see. Do we have more questions, chat? 3-second rule and everything. We are nearing the end of the stream, actually. So get your questions in. We can answer a couple more. Yeah.
Oh my god, it went by so fast.
Yeah.
Are there plans to include more LGBTQIA+ hunters? Von Atraxi Angel.
Yes, always.
Yeah, I think like we never planned with the other characters. Like it was never like, oh, we need to include a certain character. But characters are people, you know. They do what they want at some point. So I think with all these characters, like with the Viper, Sophia and Lulu, I would leave Brie to talk more, but I think they just speak to us, and like the puzzle pieces I was mentioning when you're trying to create a character. And even if you try, like, oh, this character is not going to be like this, and you keep forcing it, if the piece doesn't fit, it won't fit. And at some point, you just need to accept, okay, character, you're going to be queer, you're going to be gay, lesbian. Like, they just decide. They just decide.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that approach because storytelling really is about being open to anything and just let your imagination run free and then all fit the pieces together that your brain has thrown to you and fit it together to a good narrative. That's the craftsmanship in it, which you excel at, and that is really fantastic.
Yeah, I kind of hearing out that you peeps, you bring the character, you bring them into life, some sort of, like, in a certain way that as soon as you came up with the character, it kind of runs free then, like from your imagination, and it kind of becomes alive. That's really interesting.
Yeah, they live rent-free in our heads.
Yeah, we have enemies.
Shit. Sorry. My bad. Oh,
let's do it slowly. Let's go in this building here.
Yep.
Oh, they're shooting at us already.
Okay.
Let's get a higher position. Let's go up here. And go in
It's slowly Beady Boy watching the stream and just trying to stream snipe us.
I think so. Fabian Siegesmund, one of the best German players in my opinion, told me a few hours ago that he wants to stream snipe me.
Oh no.
Yeah. Have to be careful here.
The hunt is on, and we have a showdown here.
Yeah.
That hits right on the narrative. We have another question from Diva. Maybe I'm asking Bárbara here because the others are still very engaged in a fight.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd love to see a hunter that fits in with the red shirt, the white shirt, and they have visible burn marks everywhere from getting constantly burned while downed.
Oh. That's an interesting concept.
Write that one down too.
Yeah, write that one down.
Well, we have the chat history at least, so you can go there and look at that afterwards. Let me see, any more questions? Some more commentary here. Clyde Vox says, Hornback is my absolute favorite new legendary. Been waiting for a braided badass.
Yeah, since when is Hornback in? This character looks so effing amazing. It's completely new, right?
Oh yeah. I think with this update, I believe. I'm not sure. I guess maybe a little inside baseball. It takes us a long time from production to actual publishing, so we might not remember when exactly all of these came to be.
Yeah, we have to be very careful because we are like 6 months before, so we cannot talk about new hunters. What's new to us, it's going to take a while to appear.
Another question. BD Boy has a commentary. I actually like the idea of having hunters incorporated not from lore to the game, but from game to the lore.
You mean like, because one thing that we do is kind of like explore we're we will be like playing the game and we will play it completely wrong. We're just going to be exploring the environment and looking at things and not engaging in combat sometimes, just to gather ideas. And
yeah, that's like me. I usually just hide in bushes until it's over.
Yeah, it's our research sessions, is play hunt.
Yes.
So a lot of the times, most of the times, a lot of the ideas come from like a certain type of gameplay, a certain strategy. So sometimes let's make a character that, for example, we have the Viper. We were thinking, okay, like character, if you want to be more on the stealthy side, if you want to be, we were very pointing out that they are very silent, that no one hears them coming, that they like to use poison. So all of that is connected to gameplay. So we were thinking, okay, maybe players who like that sort of gameplay, being stealthy and using poison and traps, maybe they will like playing a character that has that backstory. Then we have, for example, the Spirited, another one that I wrote, that he's stealing everyone's guns. He's stealing other people's equipment, and he's not the most honorable person. So if you like to be a little bit of a jerk while playing, of course, respectfully, but if you want to be a little bit more on the tricky side, maybe you like the Spirited more. So that's something that we do. I don't know if that's exactly what the viewer meant, but this is something we do.
Yeah. I guess awesome. On another note, again, back to the kill buyer, I am 100% going to die. Yep. Spoilers, I am very bad at hunt. But yeah, again, on the kill buyer, I personally wanted to write a character to explain why there are a bunch of half horses. And so I thought, okay, there's just this really intense guy. Again, sorry for all the horse people in the chat.
I'm crying already.
Yeah, he kind of does he's also partially inspired by Caligula. If you've ever heard of any stories about him.
Yeah, of course.
He was someone
the mad emperor.
Yes, he elected his horse as a senator, but also did a lot of fucked up things. And so part of it was that he loves horses so much that he wants to know everything about them, to the point where he would dissect them for fun. And when the money ran out, he decided, well, it's free real estate. I'm going to just go in and just have fun with horses, since there's no one here to stop me. So that's kind of the answer to that, in a sense. And we just, again, explore and keep doing it.
I mean, to be fair, I'm cringing right now, but the thing is, one thing that always gets me are the sound traps, like the half-dead horses. That is the most terrible thing for me in Showdown, honestly. Give me the spider, the butcher, anything every day, I don't care. But these things, they just creep me out so much due to personal, my personal love of horses, which is definitely not going into that direction. So yeah, but it is, it is good that there is a piece that fits into the story now, because the question is, why is that? Why are there just these horses lying around? I mean, you could also ask the same question about many things in the environment, but that's exactly where the environmental storytelling comes together piece by piece, when you keep adding to the story and also to the characters, and that is actually great. Okay, we have a couple more questions. Yeah.
Why is the Wormbite looking a little bit like Jeremy? No, mix attack.
Next. So, Dino Ari is asking, are y'all excited to utilize the alternate version mechanic on legendaries that has been featured on the Viper and Frau Perchter?
So, Jeremy.
For us, it was an amazing opportunity to tell more stories with one character, right? Because we usually get one entry to write everything. Like, if you check the Steam descriptions, we always write a short story or something. And for example, with the Viper, I got to write a little snippet of story for each of the skin, so that was amazing. And of course, the visual storytelling with the progression, and that's something that I quite enjoyed. And I hope the public, the audience, enjoyed as well.
Awesome.
I would have one last question.
Yeah, but we have a couple more questions from the chat.
Oh, we
you
do?
can ask them every day.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
ask them questions. Yeah, you can ask them every day.
Let's go. I thought we answered everything.
No, we didn't. Sorry, I just didn't want to interrupt. So,
don't worry.
one comment from Atraxian Angel was that I would love more hunters that fit into being able to mix and match with trios. You can play 3 versus 3. Can you do that in Hunt?
33?
No, 3. Like
What?
You mean trio?
I haven't played in a long time. So I was wondering about the matchmaking, because trios, does it mean like there's 3 people on the map at the same time, and it would make sense to have people who have characters who have relationship with each other, like the Wolf family, or
Yeah, you can play trio. Yeah. So that's a very good point. Well, do we have a trio? That's a good opportunity.
Yeah.
You can play it as 3 vipers.
Oops, all vipers.
like all the different stages of the Viper.
But one will be missing. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah.
I mean, this is nowhere near canon, so feel free to ignore it. But if you play as Lulu, Sophia, and Kevin, in my heart, that's canon.
I see.
Lulu and Sophia have like, this is our child now, he is ours. So there's a free recommendation.
Yeah, we have our own fanfics.
Nice. Very good.
Oh, that's cool.
We do have the characters that were involved in the Serpent Moon event. So you could play Kevin,
Kevin, Viper, Hail Mary.
it's going to be more, right? Then that's the problem. It's also not going to be 3.
Oh yeah, all the packs. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, we will take that. That was a great suggestion.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let me see. Is there anything else we have to? So there's a lot of need for single player content. I see. People want to explore the stories of the hunters in single player content as well.
You do have a little bit of that right now. You do have the tutorial, which is voiced by the amazing Geralt of Bayou. Yeah.
Oh, and I have a question for Bree. Atraxian Angel wants to know: are there any plans for a hunter that fits more into a goth aesthetic?
That's question for Bree.
I would like at least 10 more hunters to be goth, but also like Mama May is our token goth for right now. So please, if you have Mama May, she's your go-to.
And the Viper has eyeliner and black nails, so.
But only if you have the last stage, right?
The eyeliner is from the beginning, but the black nails.
Okay.
Yeah, it's further on.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I think we're pretty much at the end of our stream.
Yeah.
Chat, you were awesome. Thanks for all the great questions. That was a lot of fun, I hope, for everyone. Bree, Bárbara, thank you so much for joining us for today. I think that was a really good session. Just before I forget, for everyone who was listening today and you want to read some more. So Bree and Bárbara have actually had a public talk at Games Industry Conference in Poznan in October, where they also talked about storytelling and narrative in multiplayer and online games, and what are the challenges there, and what are the possibilities and the options. And that is actually online on YouTube, so I will post the link in chat now. They are also talking a little more about the Viper in that talk, so feel free to check that out. Yeah, and like I said, thanks for everything. Thanks for being great.
Thank you.
Bree, Bárbara, thank you so much for your time.
Dark Road says, have them back another time.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I want to play one day.
Yes. I need my sniper.
Yeah, I mean, we do play Hunt Showdown on our stream regularly as well. I don't. It's usually Roman, and sometimes I'm just backseat gaming, because I really suck at Hunt Showdown. But yeah, feel free to stop by for a joint session, just chat and talk. It's really relaxed, and we would be happy to have you.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much.
So much.
It was so much fun.
Thank you very much. And have a great weekend, everybody. And we'll see you next week.
See you. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.